Hello, Hope TV family. We are the House of Hope Atlanta. Dr. E. Dewey Smith Jr. is our senior pastor, and we believe that life with God is better in every way, every day. If you haven't already subscribed, we need you to subscribe now to www.thehopetv.com so that you can catch all of our amazing content. Listen, we would not be here if it were not for our wonderful viewers. So I want to thank all of you for hanging with us and for watching us since last year. Can you believe it's been an entire year? Yes, it has. And so we are thankful for you and your viewership. Listen, this series is all about empowering bosses at the beginning of the year, professionals and entrepreneurs. And this new season of Boss Up for me has been particularly powerful and transforming because of our amazing guest. And I promise you tonight, you will not be disappointed. So you know what I need you to do? I need you to share this episode on all of your social media platforms, because what we're going to talk about tonight, I believe, is going to be beneficial for all of our listeners. So let's talk. We have an incredibly gifted guest today. She is just an all-around good person, and none other than Min Yan Sarton is with us. She's an anointed woman of God whose focus is to touch the lives of listeners, not just to entertain, but to change lives and add souls to the kingdom. She is absolutely one of the most recognizable voices in today's gospel music industry, and she shared her gifts with many, many gospel artists. I can't name them all, but I'll name a few: James Fortune, Dorinda Clark Cole, Kim Burrell, Karen Clark Sheard, J.J. Hairston, the Williams brothers, and she's appeared on several albums. She's even appeared on BET's Bobby Jones Gospel and the Celebration of Gospel, the Stella Awards, and TBN. She is the CEO of Embellished Sounds, and she's married to musician and producer George Sarton Sr. Together, they have three amazing sons. I know all of them: George Jr., Gabriel, and Gavin, and they reside in Atlanta, Georgia. Will you join me in saying hello to Min Yan Sarton? Min Yan, say hello to our Boss Up family tonight.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here. Good to be here with my sis, Miss Carner. I'm so excited to be here and I'm ready. I hope what I say today really helps everyone today that's viewing.
Listen, you're already helping us by being here. We've been trying to get you on Boss Up for the longest, but I know it was our schedules. And so we're just honored to have you. We're just going to jump right into it if that's all right with you.
Let's go.
I want to start out by talking about your brand and talking about embellished sounds. What would you say is that element or that component that makes your brand special and unique?
Well, of course, there are so many things out there that are similar to embellished sounds, but I think the thing that makes embellished sounds stand out from what I've seen in the past is embellished sounds offers the things that I wish I had growing up or that I wish I had starting out
Mhm.
in the industry. And those things
Yeah.
were someone that cared, someone that not only just cared about my gift, but cared about me as a person as a whole. So even though I see these people or these people that there are a part of embellished sounds that have amazing gifts, I also see them and I encourage them in their journey because in order for this journey to be a success, you have to be able to know yourself. You have to be able to understand yourself because if not, you will allow any and everybody to dictate what you should do and how you should do it. So you have to be familiar with yourself and knowing what it is that you want to do before you can make this thing a permanent thing, before you can make this journey, this music career, before you can make that a part of your life, you have to know exactly what it is that you want as a person. So that's why I can say embellished sounds is different from a lot of the others because I'm not just going after incredible singers. That journey will happen. We have vocal sessions, vocal lessons. We take you through all the necessary steps to help you be who you want to be. You also may start and say, hey, I want to be a singer. But in the journey with us, we may discover that you're a writer. So we're not going to put you in any room knowing that you're not ready to be in that room. We're going to help you enhance your writing skill. So that's how and why I believe that embellished sounds is different from all the others that I've seen.
You're already sharing so much wisdom. And I hope our viewers are catching this. The first thing that you said that really stood out for me is that as an artist, you have to know your own voice. You have to know
Absolutely.
who you are. Because if you don't, people will tell you who you are, right? It's kind of
Absolutely.
like when we look at creating your own narrative on social media. If you don't create your own narrative, people will assign one to you. And so I
Absolutely.
love the fact that you're empowering people to embrace their God given talents and their voice. So you already know what I'm going to ask. When I hear you sing, there's no doubt in my mind that you were born to do this. So do
Mhm.
you remember when you realized that you were going to be a singer, or when you realized this was what you were born to do? When did that happen for you?
Um, it probably happened for me in my early teens. It took me a minute
Hmm.
because all of my youth, I always just wanted to do hair. Cosmetology was my thing. I was into,
Okay.
fashion. Yeah, I was into the beauty thing. That's what I wanted to do, and I did that. I did that, when my senior year of high school, I started going to cosmetology school. So that was my thing, and not even knowing, even behind the chair, ministry started developing, within me. I would sing to my clients, minister to my clients. And so I would honestly, to answer your question, I would say probably in like maybe around the 16, 17, when I got introduced to Kimberell. And my
Yes.
mom would look for me, and she would know Mion must be in her room listening to Kimberell. And that's when I would get home from school, I would do my chores, I would do my homework, and then boom, I would be in my room with the CD player, headphones on, and just studying and learning my voice, learning what I was able to do. And so listening to Kimberell, Nancy Jackson, those artists taught me that I could do more than just belt, because I was just a singer, I was just a choir singer. And so they taught me that I could get control over my voice, and I could, be do more acrobats with my voice. So it was around that my early yeah.
Listen, you just brought back so many memories because when Everlasting Life came out,
Yes,
it was
yes,
over. It was
yes,
over. And Holy Ghost,
yes.
now I'm not talking about the new one, the live one. I'm
Right.
talking
No,
about
no.
the
Yes.
studio
The right.
version of Holy Ghost when that came out.
Yes.
My mom
Yes.
was like, "Who is Kim Burrell? Why am I listening to her every
Mhm.
day?" So
Yes.
you definitely have hint on something special that we as church girls, right?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
form our talents, or we form our understanding of our talents and our gifts by listening to other artists, right?
Absolutely.
And so for
Absolutely.
you, just in listening, and I actually hear her influence in your singing. So that makes a lot of sense to me that I didn't know
Yeah.
that about you. So
Yeah.
while we're there, I want to do something really quickly because I don't want anybody to miss the next question and what you're going to share. Welcome if you are joining us for Boss Up. If you're just joining us, we want to welcome you. I need all of you to take this video and share it on your Facebook page. We need you to share it on all of your platforms because we know you have some friends who may be interested in the entertainment industry. And we have one of its foremost voices with us tonight. And so if you're interested in the entertainment industry, maybe you have a gift of singing or a gift of writing, I promise you, you won't be disappointed by the wisdom that Mignon Sarton is sharing with us. So let's move to our next question. It's about to get really, really relevant. So I want you to get ready, and I want our viewing audience to get ready. My next question is about ageism. And I want you to talk to us about what your experience is like as a millennial in the entertainment industry, and do you face any ageism? I know, and I'm going to give you an example as a female preacher, female pastor. There are a lot of older female preachers who are kind of like, hey, you haven't paid your dues yet. So there are certain opportunities that you can't access right now. And for me, because I do respect those sage voices, I say, okay, that's how you feel. And I honor you as a professional. I honor you as a mentor. And I just take it in stride. But I know that sometimes the challenges are a little bit more overt for other people. So talk to us about what it's like to be a millennial in the entertainment industry, and if you've had any moments where your age was a factor.
You must not know how old I am.
I know you're still young. You're still young.
I don't know if I see myself as a millennial, but um because like the singers that are coming up now, my God. I'm learning that I'm learning that they'll see me and they'll be like, "Oh my God, I grew up to you. I listened to you. I studied." So I don't know if I see myself as a millennial, but I will say that I do believe that I have come up against those situations to where my age did play a factor, and then I will honestly say that my gender probably played more of a factor than my age did,
Yes.
because people knew that I came up musical, so they expected me to know and be able to do certain things. But then when they on the flip side, when they would say, but she's a female, so she probably don't really know, or she probably can't really, and so then they would just write me off, or they would feel as though that they can make the decisions for me, that I didn't have a backbone, that I didn't really know what it is that I want. In some cases, it was true, because I will say that in the beginning of my career, I pretty much put my career on a plate and just gave it, to whomever I was working with, and allowed them to make the decisions for me, and those decisions that they were making for me wasn't what I really wanted. So that taught me to grow a backbone and to make that backbone strong. So I wouldn't necessarily say that my age really played a factor. I would say is more on the gender, but we got that together. We cleaned that right on
So,
up.
oh yes, oh yes. So let me stop right here because sometimes on Boss Up you get Jen the CEO who has winning women and all of that
Yeah.
stuff, but then you get Jen the pastor. So I hope I'm going to ask my Boss Up audience family, can I have your permission to be Pastor Jen? Because I believe there may be somebody watching who is saying,
Yes.
I'm like Mignon. I'm like Jennifer. I'm in my 30s or my late 30s, and I'm
Yeah.
in a space where there are people who are coming up saying they're watching me. Does that change my relevance? So you know where I'm
Mm,
going. How do
mm.
you remind yourself that yes, these young ones are coming up and they do have different skill sets and they do have a different approach to music, but my voice is still needed in the kingdom. And what I have to offer is valuable. How do you keep that truth in front of you when you do have younger ones coming up? If I can be honest with you, I've seen some women coming, some younger preachers coming up, they can hoop for an hour. Let
Yeah.
me try to hoop for an hour. Something's going to happen to me. So, so
Yeah.
I want to know
Hey.
from you, I want to know from you, how do you keep that mindset? Yes, I am a trailblazer. Yes, there are people who are patterning themselves after me, but I'm still relevant for this age. How do you keep that truth in front of you?
Well, Pastor Jen, um, I would say what helps me is that when I started, I needed somebody. There was somebody that I needed to look up to. And so, with the younger generation coming, they need somebody. They need somebody to look up to. And I know my purpose. I know my calling. And I know that there are certain things that God has purpose for my life that has not yet manifested. You know what I'm saying? So that pushes me to know that I'm still needed. My voice is still needed because it serves a purpose. And although I don't think I am as skilled as people say I am, but I know that God has anointed me. And I know He's anointed me for this season. I know He's anointed me for this hour, for this moment, for this present time. I know that I've been anointed for this. So anybody that is connected to me, anybody that God allows me to come into contact with, I know it's purposeful. And I know that I'm in their lives for a reason. And I know that God orchestrated this. So that's the thing that keeps me focused and keeps me going, and doesn't, and I don't necessarily focus on, oh, well, she can run better than me, or he can run better than me, because I know my purpose. So I don't let that get into my head, because in this thing, people compare. They do. and they go for the next big thing. So that goes back to you having to know you. Like this journey, this music career is not as easy as it looks. You know what I'm saying? It comes up against your spirit. It comes up against your marriage. It comes up against your mind. It comes up against so many different things that you have to be ready on the inside. You have to be ready spiritually for this journey. So that just keeps me. That's what keeps me. I can keep going
You
though.
said so much. No, you did an excellent job answering that question and attacking that question. And what you did for me is you reminded me of something that I want to share with our viewing audience, and that is comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the
Absolutely.
thief of our creativity and our ingenuity. God
Yes.
told me something really early in my journey of preaching and in my journey of being an entrepreneur. He said, Jen, you're looking for models, but some of the things that you're doing, you're going to be the first person to do it.
Yeah.
So comparison is really not even something that you can do. Then God was like, listen, I want you to compete with the best version of yourself. That's your competition. When you were
Yes.
your most healthy self, what kind of work did you produce? How do you get back to a place where you are healthy like you were in that season of your life? And so when you start to set goals like that, then you're really operating like a boss. When you are no longer
Yes.
comparing yourself to other people, but you are saying, this is what it takes for me to show up in the best possible way. And I'm willing to compete with the best versions of myself in this moment. So it's getting good. It's getting good. This is the only thing I don't like about Boss Up is when it starts to get really good, we're getting to the end.
Yeah.
So I have a special question for you. When you sing, and I believe anyone who has heard you sing will agree with this, when you sing, you give God everything you've got. Like I've watched you literally sing until you have nothing left. You empty yourself, right? And
Hmm.
so I want to ask you about what is your experience like as a woman and a mother doing this kind of work? And do you feel that people understand what it takes for you to show up the way that you do? Let's go.
My God. My experience in this as a wife, let me attack that first. Um, Ministry can be very difficult when you're married. And I say that because, especially when you're married to someone that do the same thing, okay? Because
Wisdom.
yes, that part. And then when you bring kids in with it, you both have to now juggle, okay, well, who's gonna go this time? Who ain't gonna go? You know, especially when God has gifted you with children that are anointed, you know what I'm saying? And the enemy always tries to attack them. So now you're like, okay, well, any and everybody can't watch our children. You know what I'm saying? We can't leave them with any and everybody. So now you going, okay, well, who gonna stay home with the kids? Who gonna go to church? Who gonna, you know what I'm saying? So juggling those things with ministry, that it takes me back to the first question you asked. You got to know you got to know what you're capable of. You have to be ready for the journey, like even before you make um those important decisions, getting married, having children, all of that stuff plays, in line with ministry, because something or somebody is going to go lacking somewhere. So you as a person have to make up in your mind to sacrifice something in order to focus on something else. And for me, I'm going to choose family first, of course, and then work later. But of course, it's always God and then family. So ministry is going to be done. But when it comes to all the other components of it, I have to make a decision. What am I going to sacrifice? Can I accept this position? Can I do that knowing that I have a husband, knowing that I have children that need me, and especially in this pandemic? The pandemic causes for me to be a lot more active with my children. My children need me more. My husband need me more. So those balances, it takes a lot for me to show up for a recording or for me to show up on a Sunday. It takes a lot of preparation. I have to start preparing weeks ahead of time. If I know that I'm taping on the same day that my husband is taping, I got to figure out, okay, well, who can I trust with the kids? Dinner, got to make sure, so it's just a lot to balance in order to do ministry 100%. And I always say to God, I say, well, if you called me to do this, then don't you just make it a little more easier for me? That's something that I share with him, and although I share it in laughter, but it's like every time that I ask that of him, he does it. He sends somebody like a Carner, he sends somebody like a Bryant to be there to assist in those moments when I really need it, and so, or like an Adrian, he sends those people there to assist me and my family with the things that we need. And so if I can encourage somebody in this moment, be specific about what it is that you need. If you know that God has called you to do ministry, and you know that God has gifted you with a family, with a husband, with children, be specific about what it is that you need in order to do those things that God has called you to be. For so long, I settled, or would say no to certain things because of what life was presenting. But when I learned that power was in prayer and power was in my tongue, I began to speak those things and told God exactly what it is that I needed, what it is that me and my husband need, what it is that my family need in order to do ministry like he's called us to. And slowly but surely those things come. May not come like everybody say. I know it's a saying everybody say, it may not come when you want it, but it come right on time. It's facts. I mean, I can honestly say that is absolutely truth in that statement. Literally, things that I have asked God for years ago didn't come at that moment, but now when I need it, it's like specifically given right at the right time. And so I hope I answered it, because I know I can go on and on.
No, you answered the question. Something that came to mind while you were talking, I always try to lift the principles from what we share in our
Mm-hmm.
conversation for those professionals and entrepreneurs who are watching. I think what you're saying, in a sense, is you're going to have to make a sacrifice to do any work,
Absolutely.
whether it's the
Yeah.
music industry, whether it's in the secular arena. If it whatever it is, you're going to have to
Yeah.
sacrifice something. But I hear you saying, make sure you're sacrificing the right things, right?
The right thing.
Because
Yeah.
for me, when I reflect on my journey, a lot of people don't know this, but I let the Boss Up family see me genuinely.
Yeah.
When I was doing ministry, I had done ministry for almost 7 years in 2 other states. So I've been away
Wow.
from my family. You got to think about that. Only for major holidays did I come to Georgia to see my family. And I started
Wow.
noticing my nieces and my nephews were kind of like, that's that auntie, but we don't really know
Mm,
her. And
yeah.
so I immediately began to pray and say, okay, God, we got to do something different here, because I'm missing those vital moments with the people who are going to be here when ministry is gone.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
that's when I heard from Dr. Smith, and he was like, sis, it's time for you to come home. And I was like, oh, this is definitely God, because I've been praying about a way to just kind of be present for the people again who are going to be there, whether you're a
Yeah.
CEO, whether you're an artist, whether you're a pastor. Your family sometimes is all you're going to have. And so
That's
I
right.
think I think that's a good lesson for our viewing audience, and a great place for us to begin our close is make sure, if you're making sacrifices for your business, that those sacrifices are worth it.
Yeah.
So listen, we're about to end tonight's Boss Up show. I don't know about anybody else, but I've enjoyed every moment of it. I'm gonna talk to the producer and say, hey, we need to have her back, because she was phenomenal. So Mignon, if somebody's watching and they're saying, I need embellished sounds to help me with my next project, or I just need some coaching through this whole entertainment industry piece, how would you like us? I see at Mignon Sings, your IG is on here, but do you have
Mhm.
any other instructions for how we can contact you if we want to support your business?
Absolutely. You can always contact me in my Gmail, and it's embellishedsounds@gmail. If it's kind of hard, because I know it's long. So you can also send me a message on my IG at Mignon S Sings, and I'll direct you from there. I'll give you the information there where you can send the information to my Gmail, and I'll follow up with you. Yeah.
And while we're talking to you, give us some parting words, just something in conclusion, and then I'll close the show out. But just give us maybe one of the greatest lessons that you've learned from being in your industry.
But one of the greatest lessons that I've learned is to, and I hate to sound redundant, but know who you are, know what it is that you want, and know what it is that you want to see. Um, don't put your don't put your journey, don't put your desires, all of it completely in somebody else's hands. People are going to do what you allow them to do. People are going to say what you allow them to say. But the moment they see that you know exactly what it is that you want, then they're going to respect you. But the moment you show any type of, I don't know, that gives them head over you. So know exactly what it is that you want, know exactly what it is that you want to do, and you stand strong on that. And then know exactly what it is that God wants you to do. Because a lot of times we can go into this with our own idea, with our own concept, with our own plan, our own goal. But mix that up and put that in with God and see if what you want lines up with what God wants for you. And so if what you want lines up with what God wants for you, then it's going to work out in your favor. So always just keep God first in everything that you decide to do, and He'll direct you and He'll guide you, and you'll come out on top.
So, Boss Up family, I think you see why I love Mignon Sarton so much. She's a gift to our church, she's a gift to the kingdom, and she's a gift to the world. And so I hope that you've enjoyed tonight's episode. This is the Boss Up Show. We are Hope TV. Our senior pastor is Dr. E. Dewey Smith Jr., and we believe that life with God is better in every way, every day. And we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend, family.
What you're looking